have the tasting over on the table over there, so please do try it. And it also, what's there, for more reason. So my thanks to Fortnum as well. So we're launching the 2018 International Marmalade Awards and Festival. And although, without question, Cumbria is the centre of the world for marmalade, we are absolutely delighted and very honoured that we can also celebrate at Australia House. And as we celebrate, we are also thinking of the All Australian Marmalade Festival, which was successfully launched in September this year. And in fact, there were entries from probably all the states in Australia and from outside Australia as well. So without any further words, I'd like to introduce him to talk about the Australia House. And your life.
Well, first, let me say it's a great pleasure to host this function here at Australia House this evening. I didn't really know a huge amount about marmalade until I got a letter from Jane, in must have been late 2015, saying that she'd like me to come up to Cumbria for the World Marmalade Festival and to help judge marmalade. Well, I've eaten marmalade from time to time, and that's it. I really know very little about marmalade, but my wife is particularly keen on marmalade. And so I thought it just sounded so different. The thing that really swung it in the letter, funnily enough, was that she said the Spanish ambassador came this year, so you might like like the Spaniards. And so I hopped on the train, went up to Penrith one Saturday morning. I remember it well. It wasn't raining, but it was a fairly bleak day. And I arrived and at the Marmalade Festival, and honestly, I just thought to myself, what the hell am I doing here? I have no idea about marmalade and a marmalade festival, and I have to tell you, I just had the best weekend. It was an absolutely fantastic time. Your family was so welcoming, and the family of marmalade lovers, and there I found myself as one of the judges in what is curiously called the Marmalashes, where the Australian marmalade competes with the British marmalade. I'm one of the judges, so I thought, well, this would be pretty easy. But unfortunately, you didn't know who produced what marmalade in the times. I found myself judging the British marmalade ahead of the Australian marmalade, to my everlasting shame, so I kept pretty quiet about it. But it was actually entirely unlike what's about to happen over the next 3 or so months. England won the Marmalashes that year. Yes, here in variety this time. Particularly as you've lost your great New Zealand player, Ben Stokes. That's the last thing I want to say is that, that's your second last thing. I'm delighted the way Jane has taken this whole world of marmalade to Australia, and in fact, by an extraordinary coincidence, to my own hometown of Adelaide, and indeed the Australian Marmalade Festival was held in Renmark, in the Riverland of South Australia. That's about 2 hours drive from Adelaide on the River Murray. I'm delighted that you chose Renmark because that area of South Australia, and indeed just across the border into Victoria along the River Murray, is a vast citrus growing area. There used to be a time when we sold a lot of these citrus products, I suppose particularly oranges, but all sorts of citrus and fruit more generally into the UK. It was originally outside of our own domestic market, our biggest market. For all of these sort of reasons, and for, in tribute to her actually, because gosh, a dynamo, if ever there was one, somebody with a passion who really gets things done. It's fantastic to find someone like that. So positive, so enthusiastic, so can-do. You can't resist going and doing things for her. So she asked me if I'd host this function here at Australia House, and some of the people at Australia House said, "Oh mate, why would you bother with a marmalade festival? Have you ever met Jane?" So here I am. And you are in the first purpose-built diplomatic mission in London. It's the first one ever built by the relevant government for its own use, this building. And it was built between 1913 and 1918, so it is an Edwardian style and built in that kind of faux French way, because French architecture was just all the rage at that time during the Edwardian period. But interestingly enough, designed, of course, before the First World War, but built during the First World War. And all the marble you can see around here, and the timber in this room, and in other parts of the building, as you came up the stairs, they're marble, and the great big wall downstairs is marble. All of that was shipped from Australia over here during the First World War. And I would have thought we would have been shipping a bit of ammunition and bandages for us 200 miles away on the Western Front. I guess we were doing plenty of that, but we nevertheless, the then Australian government built this quite extraordinary building. It is the oldest continuously occupied diplomatic mission in London as well. Every time I say that, the Austrian ambassador says, no, we moved into Belgrave Square before 1913. I say yes. But you did notice I used the word continuous. And of course they went, as they say in Austria, off-piste for a while. So I hope you have a wonderful evening drinking all that whiskey and marmalade. And my head is already slightly spinning. But I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and no doubt most of you will be up there for the Marmalade Festival in March next year, and I'm hoping that my invitation will come soon and I'll be able to get that train up to Penrith, and cold and bleak as it may be, I think we'll have a fantastic time. And the dinner, for example, there was absolutely memorable, just a wonderful evening on that Saturday night. So again, you're all very welcome. Thank you.
It started 12 years ago, where Jane rallied round some of her friends in Cumbria and managed to get 60 of them to produce marmalade for the first Marmalade Festival. This year there were 3,000 entries from over 40 different countries. Amazingly, the homemade competition is still being run by Joy Penton-Pivot, and the team has spent 2 months getting the marmalade in and judging it. I think the homemade competition is 2,000 pots of marmalade. And as Joy says, marmalade is complicated, it's heavy and it's breakable, so the logistics are very complicated. The festival this year is going to be at Dalmain on the 17th of March, and there is a church service the following day where Robert Willis, the Dean of Canterbury, will be preaching. He preaches extremely well, I've heard him preach. And the Chamber of Commerce in Penrith has very much taken up the whole spirit of the occasion, and Penrith is going to go orange, and the main high street is going to be closed. What marmalade can do is really quite extraordinary in the hands of Jane and her team. Congratulations to all involved on this phenomenal success story, and above all else to Jane Hazelmcott.
There are many extraordinary things that happen as a result of Marmalade, as we have heard, but perhaps one of the most moving and indeed important stories comes from the Hands Up Foundation. And I just wanted to introduce you to Louisa Barnett, who's here, who is just going to say a few words about marmalade in her context.
Thank you, Jane. It's a real pleasure to be here this evening, and I'd like to thank Jane, the Dalmain team, and Australia House for having us all. I've been asked to talk about Marmalade, which is a marmalade made with a Syrian twist, which we've sold for the last 3 years to raise money for aid projects in and around Syria. These aid projects are implemented by a charity called the Hands Up Foundation with its partner organisations, which I set up with some friends back in 2014. And I wanted to talk about this initiative because it's an example of one of the many ways in which marmalade can do good. So marmalade, the taste, the smell, the sight of it on toast conjures up different feelings for everyone. For us, it's Damascus, it's the scent of orange blossom, and sadly, it's the start of a conflict. I was lucky enough to live in Damascus before the conflict, in a wonderful courtyard house, and inside this courtyard house there was this enormous bitter orange tree, and we started making marmalade from these oranges. And when the fighting broke out and I returned back to the UK, we wanted to do something to remind our friends back in Syria that they hadn't been forgotten. So we had this harebrained idea to make our own marmalade inspired by these oranges, with a Syrian twist, so orange blossom, cardamom, rose, and sell it and raise loads of money. But we needed help, and so we took pen to paper. The first people we wrote to were Abel and Cole, who are here this evening, and straight away they responded to us and donated all the citrus fruit, which was a real relief because the first batch of oranges which we got from Syria I actually burned. So Abel and Cole have continued to support us by donating the citrus fruit. Then we heard about the world's original Marmalade Festival, and so we wrote to Jane. And for everyone who knows Jane here, she opened the doors straight away and has supported the Marmalade initiative straight away, not least of all by introducing us to Jane Maggs of Wild and Fruitful. So to date, over 2,500 jars of the marmalade has been made, and this the profits from the sales of this have gone towards the projects which we support inside Syria. Now, the focus of these projects is on the salaries of the medical and educational staff, because we believe that this gives Syrians the choice to stay in their country, to make a living for themselves and their families, and also to provide vital local services which have almost deteriorated. So since March this year, Hands Up Foundation has paid for the salaries of 21 medical staff at a hospital in rural southern Aleppo, and this in turn has allowed for 29,000 medical consultations, 13,000 of those are for children. It's so important that we don't forget Syria. More people died in September this year than any month this year, which is 3,000. The situation shows no sign of stopping. We're 6.5 years in, and the headlines are focusing elsewhere. So it's so easy to forget. But ordinary Syrians rely on us all of us, to remember. And this is really the heart of Marmalade. It's a way for us to come together to remember the wonderful things that Syria has and knows. And by celebrating its food and its culture and spreading marmalade on your toast, we all have the power to do something good.
Thank you very much. Finally, I would like to introduce you to Dan Leppard, who's going to thank our sponsors, because without them we certainly wouldn't be here. And Dan has been our longest standing patron, and I think he's still standing, so if you wouldn't mind, I would like you to thank the people who support us.
Pleasure. Thank you. And thank you all for coming. Effectively, I'm finishing this evening and allowing you to get on with cocktails and canapes and enjoy yourselves. But when you leave here, we'll be hard at work trying to get this 2018 Marmalade Awards off the ground. And we couldn't have done it without you. Everyone here is so important. We have sponsors, but also, we have the generosity and support of so many volunteers, so many people, not just in the UK, but around the world. In Australia, it's so exciting the support we have there, in Japan as well. We really feel that we're at the beginning of something that could be really exciting, something where we still champion small businesses, champion home cooks, champion something very sort of traditional and honest about ourselves. And we think we make the world a better place. I think you agree that with citrus, with marmalade, with home cooking, and with the joys of the breakfast table, it's something that we can all share and appreciate. Now, when we have a winner of winners, a bit like Crufts, we have a jar of jars. That marmalade is made and sold at Fulham and Mason, and we couldn't do it without the support of Thursday Cottage, who produced our winning marmalade and are giving an award in the new year for innovation. We have Chris Newnham here, over here. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Sally. Thank you for the team at Thursday Cottage, who've been tremendous. Virgin Rail are doing a Marmalade Express in 2018, and we're very excited about that. I think that'll be tremendous. And we're pleased to say that even though he has a little bit of French in his step now, Paddington Bear will remain our patron at the festival, and a huge thanks to HarperCollins and for making And that's it. We're all done now. Thank you again for coming, and enjoy the evening.